Hey guys, Playtendoguy here, and today I'm bringing you my review of one of the most hotly anticipated games of the year, Mafia 3. The 1960s open world game has been receiving a fair bit of hype ever since it was revealed late last year, but since 2K refused to offer any review copies to the game's launch, many have questioned the game's quality. So without further ado, let's begin the review. Mafia 3 is an open-world game set in 1960s America in a city called New Bordeaux. The tale follows the story of Lincoln Clay, a Vietnam vet who returns home to New Bordeaux to find out his family in the black mob owes a lot of money to Sal Marcano, the big mob boss. So a big bank heist is set to pay him off. Lincoln successfully pulls off the robbery, only for Sal Marcano to double-cross Lincoln and leave him and his allies for dead. After miraculously surviving the attack, Lincoln swears vengeance on the mob, and with the help of a few allies, he sets to take down every member one by one. The story here is brilliant and certainly one of the highlights of the game. The description I gave you above was just the beginning of the game, and I can assure you it gets better. The storytelling here is mature, and the game doesn't shy away from tough subjects like racism and prostitution. And while fellow open world game GTA 5 touches on it, it does it in a satirical view. Mafia 3 does it in a true and quite brutal way. Heck, the game even pops up with a warning message at the start of the game to warn you about the racist language in the game. The story's strength is heightened thanks to the brilliant characters that appear in the game. It really could be easy to chuck a load of forgettable characters in, but no, each and every character has a purpose and a personality. The standout character has to be Father James. His interview for the fake documentaries about Lincoln includes some stunning acting. Gameplay-wise, this is where the game really kind of falls apart. Your main mission here is to take down all the mob bosses and kill Sal Marcano, and you do this by weakening their grip on the city. You do this by completing endless of these repetitive missions where you either have to kill a certain person, destroy an object, or steal something. If you do enough of these missions, you can then go after a mob boss, and that's where the levels actually show some creativity. These levels, especially the first one in an abandoned fairground, are stunning, and I don't understand why we couldn't have more of these proper missions rather than these repetitive stuff in between. One of the more interesting things about the game is when you take down various areas, you can choose which one of your associates can run the place. Picking different allies for different areas will reap many different rewards, and such as the ability to call cars and weapons to your area is a nice addition. What is even a cool idea is that if you favour one associate over the others, then they may get fed up and decide to leave your cause and end up being your enemy, and change the tide of the story, which is an awesome idea. When you're on enemy turf, you can take out enemies quietly with some really quite brutal stealth takedowns, or even go in all guns blazing, with many different types of guns. The guns feel fine and responsive, but in all honesty I'd rather go in silent, taking out goons one by one. The enemy AI is also some of the most laughably bad I've ever seen. You can walk in front of a guy and he probably won't even notice you. Heck, I even killed a goon behind an enemy and he didn't even bat an eyelid. It's that bad. The 30-hour adventure will provide you with plenty of repetitive fun, and if you want, there's plenty of collectibles you can pick up. These things are like record covers, magazines, and most interestingly, Playboy covers. These collectibles aren't really a must to get unless you really want to get them, though I think quite a few folks will be going for the Playboy covers. Open world games more or less sink or swim on how good their open worlds are. New Bordeaux is one of the better open worlds I have seen. The city does capture what it feels to live in 1960s America, from those classic 1960s advert billboards to the fantastic soundtrack. Each district of the game is bustling, full of life, whether you're exploring the bayou or walking around the suburban streets. With many open world games there's plenty of buildings, but only very few buildings you can actually enter, but Mafia 3 surprised me quite a bit that there's plenty of houses, shops and various other buildings you can enter. Some of these buildings house missions, collectibles and rival gangs to dispatch. It does help develop the world and make it feel lived in. You can get around the city of New Bordeaux by driving around in one of the many 1960s cars, and while they certainly do look authentic enough, the way they handle is quite a pain in the backside. They feel slow and sluggish, and once you get used to it, they won't bother you that much. When it comes to the soundtrack, the game hits a home run as it's stunning, with around 100 or so licensed tracks ranging from Elvis Presley, Creedence Clearwater Revival and Dusty Springfield. One thing I like about the game is during the big set piece or big cutscene, the game would bout out one of these big licensed songs. An example of this is the first mission when you escape on a boat and Born to be Wild is blasting out the TV speakers. Moments like this are a brilliant touch. Voice acting is also top tier, with a cast of mostly unknowns voicing all the main characters, and each and every one of the cast give it their all and deliver some really strong performances. It also helps that the facial animations are literally jaw-dropping, oozing with plenty of character and expression. It's just a shame that the graphics of the game just can't keep up with the strong facial capture, and New Bordeaux is graphically a bit of a mess. While I know it was never going to look as good as the trailers led us to believe, I just can't help but be a bit disappointed. It does look a little bit last gen with iffy textures and a really weird weather system. I literally stood on the spot and panned the camera around 360 degrees and the game went from sunny to cloudy. It's a strange and rather off-putting, and I really hope they do something about it. Like fellow open world game Watch Dogs, it looks much better at night, as none of these problems really persist. The game also runs at 30 FPS for most of the time, with moderate drops when the action gets busy. Conclusion time now, and I give Mafia 3 a 7 out of 10. The return to the Mafia franchise brings one with such a strong narrative, with brilliant characters and one of the best soundtracks I've ever seen in a game in a very long while. The open world of New Bordeaux is a strong one that certainly feels full of life and captures what it feels to live in 1960s America. The game tackles its hard subjects with class. Its gameplay, however, is incredibly repetitive, with nothing really new to do throughout the whole game, and with a pretty bad presentation issue overall, it does feel like it was rushed and could have done with a few more months development. Overall, I would say it's worth a buy when it's on sale. Thank you for watching my review. Like, rate and subscribe and drop a comment, and until the next time, bye!